Hi everyone, and welcome to our webinar on lessons from alumni, how to utilize your international experience. Thank you very much for joining us today for the webinar as part of our 2016 webinar series. My name's Hannah, and I am the Communications Manager in CRCC Asia's London office. And I spent a year living and working in China myself. So if you like, I'm an example of how experience in China can benefit your future career. And I'm here today with my colleague, Will.
Hi there, my name's Will. I'm the UK Marketing and PR Coordinator for CRCC Asia. Like Hannah, I also spent some time living in China. I was living and working in China for 2 years, initially working as an English teacher before moving into education management and coming back to the UK. So once again, you could say that both Hannah and I are pretty good examples of how international experience can land you a good job back home.
And that's really one of the main aims of our China internship program, is to sort of benefit your future career and give you an edge in the job market. Having experience abroad is just so important today to today's job market, which is really a global job market. And having an international experience in a country as diverse and fast growing as China is really makes you stand out to prospective employers. And what we're hoping to show you today is how some of our past alumni who've been on our program before have utilized their internship experience in China to help them get to where they are today. So we have prepared a PowerPoint presentation for you today.
So we'll just pop that up now. Like Hannah was saying, in a world that's becoming more and more connected every day, more and more globalized, it's never been more important to gain international experience and to learn lessons from those who have gained international experience and found employment back home and abroad from it as well.
Okay, so now you should be able to see our PowerPoint presentation.
Great. So what we'll be doing today is we'll be going over a few key points. What we'll be talking about is our CRCC Asia Global Alumni Network, an alumni network of over 5,000 young professionals from all over the world who have had experience living and working in China. We'll also be going over how to articulate your China experience on your CV, how you can sell yourself through your experience, through your international experience in your CV to future employers. We'll be taking a look at a few CRCC Asia alumni case studies. So these are going to be testimonials from previous interns, as well as success stories from interns we've had who have gone on to find really great employment. And at the end, you'll have the opportunity to ask us a few questions, which we'll be able to answer for you.
So if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, then feel free to write them in the box at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And then when we get to the end of the presentation, we'll answer any questions that have been submitted. So first of all, we're just going to show you a couple of statistics which were taken from our annual alumni survey, which is conducted to and sent out to all interns who've been on our program in the past. So what we found out from this survey is that 89% of CRCC Asia alumni are employed in a graduate level job within 3 months of returning to their home country. And in addition to this, 30% of CRCC Asia interns are offered a job within their internship host company after they complete the program. So that's with their host company in China. So this really demonstrates sort of the very tangible employment outcomes that students have who go on our program. So, you know, not only do they potentially have the chance to extend their stay in China and carry on working out there, which does in fact become a goal of a lot of people who go on the program after traveling to China for the first time and discovering this new country and falling in love with it for a lot of the interns. But for those who choose to return home as well, it really does improve your employment prospects quite dramatically.
Absolutely. And a lot of the reasons why it improves your employment prospects because of the support structure that we offer for our alumni after our program, as well as the experience they gain within it. So as far as progressing with career development is concerned, at the end of the program, we ensure that all of our interns are given skills assessment forms. We also offer CV advice, and we offer direct recruitment opportunities through various platforms in our global alumni network. So these include jobs with CRCC Asia and our partner companies, which are advertised through platforms like our Facebook alumni group and our LinkedIn alumni group. You also have the opportunity to sign up to our campus ambassador program, where enthusiastic alumni to our program have the opportunity to spread the good news about international work experience to other students on their campus, and be in with the chance of earning £100 for every successful referral they make.
And as a CRCC Asia intern and then alumni, you automatically become part of our global alumni network, which, as Will mentioned earlier, now numbers more than 5,000 people all across the world. So this is a ready-made platform for you to provide you with connections and contacts who can help you in your future career. During the leaving ceremony on the last day of your internship, in addition to the skills assessment form, each intern is also provided with a USB loaded with China resources. So this is just a list of relevant China organizations in various different countries. So giving you the links that you need to help continue your connection with China after you return home. CRCC Asia alumni also have access to their local regional office. So, we stay in contact with you after you finish your internship, and we're always very happy to hear from alumni who decide to go back to China. And we're always happy to help you with any sort of visa questions or visa applications that you might have if you do choose to go back to China. And there are a couple of funding opportunities available to our alumni as well. The first one of these is the Alumni Entrepreneurship Fund. So if you're a budding entrepreneur and you have a great business idea related to China and you want to try and get some investment for this, then you're very welcome to pitch your business idea to our directors, and they will decide if they want to invest in it or not. We also run an Alumni Social Responsibility Foundation. So this provides funding for any alumni who wants to undertake charitable work. You just have to, for both of these opportunities, complete the application form on our website, and then that comes through to us, and we sort of get back to you with an answer on that. So as you can see, there are many benefits to being part of CRCC Asia's alumni network, and the internship program doesn't finish when you end China. When you leave China, there's still a lot more interaction to be had after you return home.
That's right. Let's talk a little bit now about articulating your China experience, your international experience to potential employers. Let's take a look at some skills that you would be able to develop and how you should word these skills, what you should put down as the skills that you've taken. So let's take a look at international skills first of all. Through gaining international experience through the CRCC Asia internship program, you'll gain a wealth of international skills that represent a unique selling point to you for future employers. Now, some of these are really interesting. There'll be things that will jump out to future employers, one of which is cultural sensitivity and awareness. showing that you've been able to move to a different country that does things differently, that has a completely different societal network. You've understood it, you've been aware of it, and you've been sensitive to it. As the world gets smaller and we become more globalized and connected, there are going to be many more businesses who have branches all over the world who are going to be looking for future employees who have worked abroad and understand the sensitivities of potential partners and clients that they will have. Another is international confidence. So your ability to confidently work in any environment, the ability to go overseas and complete a job is absolutely fantastic for employers. It shows that you have a real confidence in your own ability, no matter where you are in the world. Flexibility, adaptability, and motivation. With international experience on your CV, this almost goes without saying that you're going to be flexible. You're flexible enough to go halfway around the world to gain really relevant work experience and further your career. You're adaptable enough to change to different situations, and you're motivated enough to go that extra mile, literally and figuratively. And also the ability to work in an international environment, the ability to work around different languages, around different cultures, as I was saying before, the ability to communicate with people from very different backgrounds, the ability to adapt and work in a completely different business environment, and also language abilities. Now, this can even be a very small amount, but demonstrating that you've been able to learn another language in a business context, or even worked around another language in a business context, shows that you are going to be an employee who can work for a company and adapt well to them. Then we look at transferable skills. So these are going to be skills that all employers are going to look for. A lot of university students coming straight out of their lectures and into the world of employment have rarely had much office experience, rarely had much clerical experience, administrative experience, or indeed experience presenting. You'll be able to gain presentation skills, presenting both yourself and your company, communication skills, the ability to communicate with other people in a business context, research skills, the ability to go out, complete a project, find out what that project needs, teamwork skills, the ability to work as part of a small team or a large team, again in a professional context, interpersonal skills, the ability to get on with people in your office, the ability to form relationships and connections, and also time management skills, which in the professional world are so important. Often there'll be tight deadlines that are very different to the kind of deadlines that you would get in an academic setting, that you'll learn about and that you'll be presented with through international experience in China.
Okay, so now let's take a look at CVs and how you can really highlight your international experience on your CV to future employers, as this is the main means by which they're going to be shortlisting candidates for job roles that they're offering. So did you know that the average employer spends just 6 seconds looking at candidate CVs? That's really not a lot, is it? So you really need to make sure that your experience, your relevant experience, jumps out at them so that they don't have to do any hard work looking through your CV to find the information that makes you a relevant candidate to the role that they're offering. So in order to do that, what should you do and how should you format your CV to make it as readable and as relevant as possible? Well, make sure that you format your CV in bullet points, because if an employer is spending only 6 seconds looking at your CV, they're not going to read through long paragraphs of text. So bullet point the most key information and use sort of keywords, because they might well do a sort of a keyword search on your CV. And if you can start each bullet point with an action word, so an action verb, then that will really sort of make the sentence jump out at them. Your CV should never be more than 2 pages. So it should be 2 pages at the absolute maximum. And, you know, it's even better if you can fit everything on 1 page, because if the employer is only spending 6 seconds on it, that's, you know, only 3 seconds per page if you've got a 2-page CV. and you don't want to dilute that down any further by adding an extra page on. And it goes without saying, but you'd be surprised how many people don't do this, but tailor your CV to each separate application. It's really obvious when someone is just sending out a generic CV to a whole bunch of different jobs. So make sure that you tailor it and use words that the employer has used in the job description on your CV, so you can show exactly how you fit their job role. Another way to tailor your CV is to divide your work experience into a relevant work experience section and an other work experience section, so that you really the information that's most relevant to the employer is at the top of your CV. With international experience, it's also a really good idea to include the location of your internship and your past experience on the title line of the role that you are performing, because again, this just draws attention to the international nature of your experience, and sort of highlights what the fact that you have global experience, and makes it easy for the employer to see that information. So put the location in the title line as well. And when you're listing your skills, use concrete examples, experiences to back them up, and go into detail to prove this and give further evidence. So if you just say, for example, you're a good salesperson on your CV, that doesn't really say anything to the employer without any evidence to back it up. So for example, you can develop this by saying, giving an example of a previous job where you increase sales. But what's even better is if you can give concrete examples of this. So how much did you increase sales by? And give some numerical evidence to really back up what you're saying. So be brief, but clear and concise. And possibly the most important thing is to get someone else to read over your CV. Because again, you'd be surprised how many people submit CVs with spelling mistakes or grammar errors. And this is something that's really easy to avoid with a simple spell check or getting another person to read over your CV. And it just helps you to make that all-important good impression on whoever's reading it. Absolutely.
So let's lastly take a look at a few case studies from our interns. Now, a lot of our interns are always very happy when they come back to provide us with testimonials to give you a little bit of an insight into their time living and working in China, what they've learned from it, what their roles were, and how they can take that forward and use that experience in the future. One of the most recent examples of one of these interns is Kashaf Ali, who recently returned from Shenzhen after starting an internship in the pharmaceuticals and healthcare industry in January. She was given a role of research assistant, and during that role, she used her skills that she had developed at university and put them to good use in the workplace to make findings for her company. She also learned how to produce a mini review of her findings and told that she could actually submit these to the International Journal of Biology. Now, this is a really great example of an intern on our program having the opportunity to gain, to really spread the message of what she's learned from her internship, findings from her internship to a wider audience. In her 2-month internship, she spent most of the time writing the article, which will be published. She spent a lot of her time writing the article after doing the initial research. Again, this would be absolutely fantastic for a point on your CV, and it shows the kind of experience that you can actually gain through going on a work experience program that maybe you wouldn't expect to get going out there at first.
And the second testimonial that we'd like to share with you today is from one of our alumni called Andrew Carr, who completed his internship in Beijing last summer in June. Andrew is a current geography student at Kingston University in London. And whilst he was on the internship program, he was working in the green technology sector. And he was placed at a research group in Beijing, specializing in reducing carbon emissions and promoting green awareness. But the great thing about Andrew's example is that since completing the internship, his host company, whilst he was in China, actually continued to employ him after he returned to London to complete his studies. So now Andrew is undertaking part-time freelance work for the same company that he worked for whilst he was in Beijing. And he had such a great time that he's hoping to return to China, hopefully with the same host company who would like to take him on again after he graduates from his current course in London. So here are two really great examples of interns who had a really great experience during their internship and got really sort of tangible, direct employment opportunities from their internship. So Kashaf's article being published in an international journal will no doubt be an extremely exciting experience for her to show to future employers. And Andrew is continuing to work for his current host company, but on a more sort of flexible freelance basis, which is really convenient for someone who's currently studying. And our third testimonial is from Marianne Dino. Marianne is Irish, and she recently graduated from the University of Limerick, where she studied law. And she undertook a legal internship in Beijing last summer as well. So let's see what Marianne has to say. She says, the opportunity to live and work in China has many benefits, specifically gaining work experience that will benefit me in future job prospects. The opportunity to learn from a Chinese business perspective has helped me develop as a young professional. International work experience is highly regarded. It shows employers that you can adjust to a new situation and that you're willing to learn new things. I would suggest that future interns create a plan at the beginning of their internship of the type of work they want to get involved in and ask for more suitable work to their skills and interests. So since completing the internship, Marianne has gained a job as a trainee at Deloitte. And when we spoke to her about this, she told us that her internship in China was one of the main things that helped with her application to work at Deloitte. And I also wanted to include this testimonial because Marianne gives some really, really helpful advice to future interns and tells you how you can make the most of your internship by really being proactive in your host company and trying to get the most beneficial work experience that you can whilst you're there and make the most of your time there, at which you'll then be able to use on your future job applications. So all of these testimonials that we've showed to you today and many more are available on our website at crccasia.com/testimonials. On our website, we also have a number of success stories. So these are alumni who have gone on to do great work and get a really good job thanks to their internship in China. So we have a number of these available on our website that you can see. And one of these are Charlotte Davies' story. So she undertook her internship in August 2014. As you can see, many of the success stories date from their internships date from a little earlier than some of the testimonials, because they've had that sort of extra time to, since completing their internship, to develop in their careers. So Charlotte says, in the first week of my internship, I was delighted with how much responsibility my new employers were prepared to give me. With Shanghai on my CV, I only needed to upload my CV to a few graduate websites before recruiters started calling me. In Shanghai, I worked within the hospitality industry, selling events to the big hotels. Now I'm training to be a headhunter within the hospitality industry using the experience that I gained in China. We are a global company, so international experience has really helped. And Charlotte is currently a consultant at Madison Mayfair, the headhunter company that she talks about in her success story. And just one last success story that we'd like to share with you today is from Samantha Kwok, who went on the internship program back in March 2013. Samantha studied at the University of Sydney, and she did a course in political economy and anthropology. And since going on the internship program, she's actually launched her own recruitment company in China, in Beijing, called Jing Jobs. So she's the founder of Jing Jobs. And it's a recruitment company that helps students get jobs in China, for people who've already had that first experience of China. So she says, I joined the CRCC Asia program right after graduating. CRCC Asia helped me tremendously with launching my career and business in China. Through CRCC's program and support system, I was introduced into professional working life in China without any of the hassle that comes with moving to a new country. I automatically had a bunch of supportive people around me and was invited to the right networking events and workshops, which helped me to develop a professional network and launch my recruitment platform. So Samantha's success story is a great example of how being a part of CRCC Asia's global alumni network can really help you develop the right connections in order to progress your career, whether that be through starting your own company, as Samantha has done, or by gaining employment with a graduate employer. And you can see a list here of some of our graduate employers. So we have our alumni work for many, many different employers. And here's an example of just a few. So they range from big companies such as Santander, Red Cross, right through to Google, KPMG,